So The Last of Us episode 6, I thought was a really solid episode. Such a solid episode that I don't have a whole lot of complaints or criticisms. I guess that's the problem with liking an episode of television or really enjoying a movie. There's less to complain about. Damn it. I hate it when that happens. No, but as you know, if you've watched my previous reviews of The Last of Us, I was not a huge fan of the whole Kansas City segment. I thought that Kathleen and her people were I guess the best way I can put this, and I'm going to use this descriptor for things now, but they were overdrawn and undercooked. And what I mean by that is basically they spend a lot of time sort of establishing these people, but not enough time to really give us a meaty story where those people mattered. So we got a lot of backstory on Kathleen. We had this whole setup in Kansas City, and then in the blink of an eye, they were all dead, and our heroes were off on their merry way. I did like the Henry and Sam stuff last week, but when it came to the villains and the bloater, which I thought just seemed a little too cartoonish, it just I wasn't a huge fan. But this week was just pretty much solid straight through. It was a lower key episode, so if you're looking for action or clickers or infected zombies, whatever, you had to get your fill last week. They were not around this week. I think that's fine. I don't think we need zombies in every episode. And this episode did end with a very tense, very intense scene with some bad guys showing up. Well, Joel and Ellie were looking for the Fireflies in a university in Colorado. The Fireflies were already gone. It seems like everywhere they go where there's supposed to be Fireflies, the Fireflies are either dead or gone. Things are not looking great for the Fireflies, basically, or for our heroes as they search for them. The rest of the episode was mostly character building for Joel and Ellie. They make their way to Wyoming. We get a 3-month time jump. They run into a Native American couple with Graham Greene as the husband in that pair, and he got this was a very, I thought it was a really cute scene. This old couple was really adorable, but I do wish we had a little more Graham Greene. It was such a cameo. I thought maybe we'd get like an episode with him, but just one very, very short scene. Where Ellie then steals one of their rabbits and off they go. This was kind of I'm not sure if this is going to be foreshadowing for a future scene, but there is a scene where Joel asks for directions on a map. It goes quite differently in the game. I won't talk about that. But that could still happen. This could just be a little Easter egg or a misdirection. I don't know. They get to the dam where in the video game Tommy is working to repair the dam. They get to the dam and Tommy is not there, but there are people from Tommy's group. We don't know that at first. They confront Joel and Ellie and have their dog smell for infection. And then when they discover who Joel is, they bring them back to their town of Jackson. And Jackson is a small fortified town. They've got their castle walls around it. It's like an old west town inside. If you've played the second game, where they really go into a lot of detail in Jackson, you'll recognize that it looks just like it. There's a cute bit in here. We meet Maria, who is Tommy's new wife, and as they're showing Joel and Ellie around, they talk about how they own everything together, and Joel makes a comment about how it's basically communism, and Tommy gets a little defensive. He's like, no, it's not communism, and Maria's like, no, this is a commune. We're communists. And the look on Tommy's face is hilarious because, of course, I'm assuming that Joel and Tommy, good old boy Texas guys, would probably not be big on the whole communist thing. But it's kind of funny. It's funny also if you compare communist Jackson to Bill and his setup in Massachusetts. I think that they'd get along grand. Because they're, just like Bill, they're self-sufficient. They have elaborate defenses. They keep to themselves. They grow their own food. That it's kind of interesting. These words like communist or libertarian have such interesting meanings in the context of our two-party system. But when you get out into the apocalypse, what do these things actually mean? What is the difference in a lot of ways? But anyways, that's a discussion for another time. I do think it's kind of fascinating though. And there's a whole, tradition of left libertarianism or anarcho-syndicalism, where the concepts of anarchy and liberty, communism, are all linked together, which I actually find super appealing kind of politics. But anti-statist Marxism, which I know a lot of people think is crazy, but you can have a communist society without a government. It does exist. Well, it doesn't exist, but it could theoretically. And that's kind of what Jackson is. It's a bit of a stateless communist society. But they don't stay there long. Ellie is kind of a little combative when she gets there, but I think she's actually really happy to be somewhere that seems safe and where they have it all. They've got movies, they've got electricity from the dam, they've got delicious food, gardens, horses. And Joel tries to pawn Ellie off on Tommy. It happens a little differently in the game, where Ellie actually runs off. And here, however, Joel just has this, he changes his mind. There's a nice scene between Joel and Tommy where Joel kind of opens up about how weak he feels and how he feels like all he ever does is fail. And he's terrified that he'll fail Ellie. And he's terrified that she'll end up like his daughter, basically. And he's been having panic attacks and he's been having dreams where he wakes up. He says he wakes up and he just knows that he's lost something. And it's really sad. It's really heartbreaking, I think. And he, I think he's just so scared that this is that, thinking that the losses he's had, like Tess and Sarah, that these are all his fault. And that if he takes Ellie, it will be his fault if she dies. And, but he has a change of heart, and the two of them head off together. And by the end, he's been stabbed. He's stabbed with the end of a broken baseball bat in the stomach when he does the chokehold attack move from the game on one of these bandits, and they escape. But Joel is bleeding quite a lot. He should not have pulled that out of his wound. That was a mistake. He should know better. I guess I'm just going to say that it's maybe because he's just so. It was just a moment of stress and panic that he pulled that out. But you don't pull it out because it might be stopping the bleeding. So now Ellie's left alone, and that's where the episode ends, and she's going to have to save the day herself, which is something she doesn't feel ready for, but at least at this point in time, Joel has been teaching her a few things. And I thought that was really nice that he's teaching her how to shoot, and they're having some real bonding moments throughout this episode, and that's the best part for me. You really start to see the two of them, they have conflict, and then after the conflict, they grow closer. During the conflict, when she's confronted him about being pawned off on Tommy, he says, well, you're right about one thing. You're not my daughter, and I sure as hell ain't your dad. And it's a mean thing to say, and it's clearly just his emotional defenses. But after that, that you start to really see the ice melt between the two of them, even though they're in really cold Wyoming. But there's a great little conversation about what he did before, and how he was a contractor, and she's like, yeah, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, it was. Everybody loves contractors. I chuckled at that. And there's an ongoing gag about sheep, because she asked him what he would do if everything turns out okay. What would he do if he could do anything? And he says he'd have a sheep ranch. And then she talks about how she wants to go to space, and they joke about sheep ranches on the moon. And then there's ongoing sheep gag. But then later in the episode, he talks about wanting to be a singer, and she tells him he needs to sing for her. So hopefully we'll get some musical stuff in this season. Both Joel and Ellie are musically inclined, and there's lots of music in the games. No, not lots of music, but music plays a crucial part in the spirit of the game. So what did you think of the episode? I really liked it. I thought it was very solid, even though it was more low key until those final tense moments. But I like low key. I like the character building. I love the scenery, just the cold scenery of Well, it's supposed to be Wyoming, but it's Alberta. I've actually been to that part of Canada, and it looked super familiar, which was cool because that's a beautiful, beautiful. I was gonna say part of the country, but part of that country, part of Canada. I love the whole area up in the Rockies up there, north of Montana, in Banff National Park and all that. It's just gorgeous. So, anyways, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Peace.